So if you are wanting more momentum, more energy, more excitement as it relates to growing a thriving business, you've got to drop the excuses. Hey guys, it's Castner, and I wanted to pop in here really quick and share just a little bit of info around I wouldn't say how to necessarily drop the excuses, but maybe ones that you should be dialed into as it relates to growing your business. And there's actually a couple that are really the big culprits. And I even found that in the beginning of my business journey, or me really launching my business, there was ones that I was actually saying over and over to myself until I broke out of that cycle. And how we break out of that cycle, first and foremost, this shouldn't be a newsflash to anybody, but how we break out of the cycle of dropping the excuses is actually just pushing through the action part and doing them. But let me just highlight a couple of excuses that might be stopping you. And if they're not stopping you now, they have probably stopped you in the past, or they're going to stop you in the future, because let's face it, nobody is perfect. We all have a tendency to go through the dips and valleys in our business journey. So let's get right into it. Number one, we got to drop the excuse that we don't have time. That is complete BS. You are not necessarily like time poor. You might think you are at the moment, but it is all boiled down to how you are prioritizing your day. Perfect case and example, I had a client more recently who was overwhelmed by all the little tasks on her plate. She was trying to start a podcast. She was she was wanting to be a guest on more podcasts. She was writing her blog. She was doing all these things, speaking events, all these things to drive awareness to her business. However, there was no time in her schedule to do the basics, meaning the clienteling aspect of what she was doing in her business, taking care of her clients. At the particular juncture when we were talking about this, hey Stacy, how are you? She really didn't have a formal system on how she was going to walk her clients through the customer service aspect of her business. So she was focusing on all this content and creating that in terms of building awareness, which again, that is a totally viable way. I mean, I talk about how you can implement, those content strategies into your world when it's appropriate. I talk about that in other videos, other live streams, other podcasts, and so on. But you don't necessarily have to do all those things at once, especially if it is getting in the way of the things that are going to drive more revenue to your organization today, or it's going to enhance your clientele experience. I guarantee you, if you put more energy behind taking care of your existing clients and also nurturing your existing network, if you put more time into those two things alone, your business will grow exponentially, because all those other things that you're doing to drive awareness to your business, they're going to be your little Pied Pipers out in the community and tell everybody how freaking amazing you are at whatever you do. Okay, so stop wasting time on stuff that isn't necessarily moving the needle. Again, I'm all about putting energy and excitement into content creation for your business to get the word out there about what you do, but do it smartly. Number two, I don't interact with them, the right people. I hear that a lot. So when you're trying to drive momentum for your business, people, I said this the other night at an event that I was speaking at, but people drive your production in your business. Not a marketing campaign, not it does, right? It helps that, but somebody had to create that. Somebody had to hear about your business in order to refer you, right? We're all the time, I'm engaging with people to find out what their current areas of focus are, how I can support them, and I'm ultimately putting myself out there to talk about how they can support me, right? So it all boils down to those connections that we have, and if we're not focused on developing relationships with quality people, and I'm not saying that there's quality and bad people, that's not what I'm getting at, but we have to decide for our business, for our goals, there are select people that are going to help us get there faster. Right? Would you agree? So if we're focused on getting in front of the right people for our goals, right? But not necessarily just thinking about it from our perspective, understanding that the other person in that relationship is, we need to focus on them too on some level, right? Because if we're constantly taking, that person's eventually going to tune us out. If we're taking, but we're also giving at the same time, we're focusing on building those quality relationships, that will help us drive momentum. I've seen this work out. In fact, in my Epic Game Plan program, which is another side shoot off of something else that I'm going to be rolling out on April 30th. I'll talk about that in a second. I talk about this element of getting in front of a certain amount of people on a daily basis, okay? And it's not necessarily setting up coffee dates with all of those people. It's really just making a touch point. It's really either having the email discussion with them, having a phone conversation with them, inviting them to an event that you're already at. So it's creating this environment where you're talking to people and you're constantly engaging in relationships with people that are going to ultimately drive more awareness to your business. So we have two things. I just wanted to pop in here and share this with you today. We got to drop the excuse that we don't have time. Make the priorities clear and respect that. I don't have enough time on this show today to really go into a deeper strategy talk on that. But if you want more information on that, I'd certainly love to help you out with that. And number two, start getting really clear, very specific about the people that you need on your team. Don't let your current circle of influence hold you back, or don't let that excuse of that current circle of influence deter you from actually going out there and kicking butt, taking names, because your time and the quality of the people that are around you are going to be the things that are going to drive momentum your way. So that's all I have for you today. I do have to get to my next meeting. I really appreciate you hopping in today. Stacey, thank you so much for being here today. And if I miss anybody else, thank you. If you want to learn how you can take your business to the next level of awesomeness, let's connect. I'd love to learn a little bit more about your current areas of focus and how I can support you as it relates to creating the business that you desire. Until next time, I'm Castner. Take care.